Hello, I am David D. Hilster, a critical thinker, dissident scientist, and I'm here to tell you the truth about science, something you university professors won't tell you, the mass media won't tell you, and certainly those science evangelists won't tell you. I'm looking at an article, which I like to do, and I haven't been doing that very often, but I should do that more often, to show you how a critical thinker looks at this. And this one, of course, caught my eye, why all the Star Wars might happen before the Big Bang. Okay, let's not even talk about things. Let's just go into the article because I get off on tangents too much, as some of you point out. Let's look at what he says. This Patrick Johnson, who is a PhD in something. Probably not physics because they don't say it. First of all, I want to caveat that we have no evidence to say yes or no that there was a universe before the Big Bang. Universe before the Big Bang. Here's the problem with vocabulary. The word universe is meant in human language, in my understanding of it, to mean everything. That's what the word is. We don't have universe meaning a part of it or a slice of it or a parallel it. It's one thing. Everything exists in it. Everything known to everything is in this universe. And to say that before the Big Bang there wasn't a universe, well, where was the Big Bang located? In the not universe? You've heard me say this over and over and over. This is the problem. The problem is people are using vocabulary willy-nilly, and what they are trying to do is what people do in literature, which is to take human language and do what the heck you want with it to make our brains tickle and think of wonderful things, because I can say, you know, right next to me is a parallel universe, and in that parallel universe there's another Dave doing something else. You know, you can talk about that, and it's science fiction. It's always wonderful to talk about, and it's interesting, but it's not real. So if you're looking at physics and you're looking at the real physical world and you believe in that and the way I believe in it, and I don't believe in magic, you don't believe that there's even a question of a universe before the Big Bang. The Big Bang would happen in the universe, always will happen in the universe, and there's only one of them. There's no parallel universes. So we go on, and here's another sentence we have here. Our current understanding of how the universe started does not rule out the possibility that there was a universe like this one, like the one we know and love today. Now, if you look at it, what they're trying to say, obviously, is that before the Big Bang, maybe there was a crunch and the Big Bang, and a crunch and Big Bang, and each time it blows out the universes, and of course they were all in a different universe, so they have different rules. Well, let's look at that. He sort of says this in the next sentence here, and I'll read this whole thing here. He says, the Big Bang was a time when things were so hot and dense that all of our laws of physics break and the universe collapsed upon itself. Let me tell you what I think of it as critical thinker, where this is all wrong. Well, first of all, the laws of physics don't break. There are no laws of physics. The physical world's the physical world. There's no breaking of it. What it means is that our laws that we come up with, they're not laws. Our equations don't work then, because you don't have the atoms put together in the same way, that all the universe, all the planets and all the stars and all the galaxies aren't there, so we don't have the gravitational field to happen, and to have gravitation happen, electric fields and magnetic fields happening, and atomic structure happening, and that, the laws don't break down in the universe, folks. They don't break down. It's a stupid thing. Though what they can say is that our universe and all the equations we use and all the atoms we use, if they're all smashed together, and there are none now, well, they're certainly not the world that we're used to there. But is physics different? No. Are laws broken? No, there are none. The universe is the universe, and it works the way it does. It's not like a magical thing. Okay, this time we're going to make frogs. You know, it just doesn't happen that way. It's a dumb notion. It's a bad thing people say, and they use this all the time. These kinds of phrases use all the laws of the universe break down in the middle of a black hole. All the universe's laws, all the physical laws break down in the Big Bang. No, they don't. Stop it. It goes on. Everything became so hot and dense, it basically bounced off of its. I'm a critical thinker. This is just garbage. It's garbage. And before that, there could have been another universe. No, the universe is always here. But all the information about that is lost, bouncing back. Yeah, you know, if you write something on a piece of paper and you burn it, the information's lost. There you go. Wow, this is very profound. In most ways, Johnson's approach here is similar to a much contested many world theory of quantum mechanics. Same problem, folks. There are no many worlds. There's only one. The reason there are many worlds in quantum mechanics is because their assumptions are so bizarre. They have no model for what's going on. Their assumptions and what they're looking at, and they're trying to describe it. Their assumptions go into places that are so illogical, and dualities and paradoxes. The particle wave duality, action, spooky action at a distance, blah blah blah. So he says, essentially the principle asserts that viewing history as a linear narrative isn't quite right. So, sorry, as a critical thinker, no way. This is stupid. Sorry, my opinion. Instead, myriad universes can be viewed as a tree of multiple. This is getting to be so poetic. There's just very little science left at all. Here we go. Let's keep going. I'm not saying that this is true and guaranteed, but if you allow for the universe before the Big Bang, who is to say there's not a universe before that and before? There he goes. Same problem. There's always a universe. Or is he talking about mass sort of gets together and comes apart and gets together and comes apart, and that everything sort of comes apart in different ways now? That the universe and the atomic structure and the periodic table, as we know, doesn't work. Universe works in its way. It doesn't mess around. All this stuff is mumbo jumbo. It's mumbo jumbo. So it's not unreasonable to say there exists a universe where maybe a fundamental constant has a slight different value. The speculation, folks, is so immense on top of this. It's just mind-boggling. So it says, the wonderful thing about Johnson's way of thinking is that nearly every quibble we might have about science, mistakes, or fallacies inherent to Star Wars could have a cool explanation. Different pre-Big Bang universe could mean different physics. No, same thing. Physics is physics, the universe is the universe. It's not different. It can change. It can have at different levels, different ways it works because, yeah, and maybe if it did have a Big Bang, which again I do not believe in, a lot of people don't believe in it because there's so much nonsensical part of that, then maybe things could be different and that. But I think the biggest problem here is the way people use language and what it really means. And if you're a real scientist and you're a real critical thinker, that language just becomes mud. It becomes muddied. It becomes paradoxical. It becomes humorous because after a while you can't, if you really pinpoint them down, if this person was here who wrote the article, they would, after about 3 or 4 questions from me, they would just walk away in frustration and said, they'd either just ignore me, sort of like politicians do when you put their shoulders against the wall, or they'll argue with you and just call you crazy, or they'll admit, hey, this is just a piece. I wrote it, you like it, you don't. But being a critical thinker, and God rest her soul, but my mom, she always said, after she hung out with all of those dissident scientists, she started to read these things and started to see all this craziness. So if my mom, who's just a regular person, she was pretty intelligent, but she wasn't really a scientist. If she can get this and become a critical thinker, you can too. So remember what I always say, don't take what anybody says on faith, including these articles. Stay critical, stay thinking. I'm Dave D. Hilster. I'm your science therapist. I am trying to get you to understand and read this stuff as a critical thinker. Ciao for now.